So the concept's clear, isn't it, really? We can take our new data model and we can evolve it and we can continue to evolve it. And that's really the principle, isn't it? That at some point, a data model has to upgrade and continue to evolve to keep being useful. At the end of the day, your business isn't going to stay static, so your data can't either. Your data is going to evolve, you're going to change tools, you're going to evolve tools, update processes, hopefully off the back of your data, of course, right? So you need to be able to evolve it. So we've done a lot already, haven't we? But let's see what more we can do. Alright everyone, here we are, weekend work, once again. Now, the goal of this series was around taking you through that continual evolution and improvement and update cycle that's going to go on within a data model. Now, one thing that I want you to be really clear about, and I want to push and make sure that it's like, oh, wow, I get it, right, is secondary reports, okay? So this is the file that I've built to go with the work that we're doing. We've pulled in the data now. We know this is the right data. I fixed the issue. The issue was actually that it was pulling in that 3-month period twice. And that's to do with when you're building an append table set, it always defaults to the table you had selected first and then doesn't exclude it from the list. So when I added all the rest of it, yeah. So it's my fault. Big Ross, stupid idiot that he is. Someone let him do stuff. But the nice thing is we've now got all this in and working. The other thing I've been able to fix is the average distance. So how have I done the average distance? That will show you. So what we need to do is to go in and let's transform this data. So I'm going to click on there, transform data. Let's bring that down into this window. And what you can see here is I've got this average distance calculator. Okay. Now, what? Right, we've got pickup location, pickup ID, and drop off location ID. It's all we've got, and the average trip distance. If we look behind behind Ross's head, right, we've got the source of it, which is like our base table, which we're doing, journeys base, and that's just all the journey information that's coming through. I've then filtered it to say, well, look, trip distance needs to be between 0 and 100. Greater than 0, less than or equal to 100, because they're miles. So I'd kind of hope that they're, I don't think there's going to be taxi journeys of more than 100 miles. I don't think in terms of a normal journey. And obviously taxi journeys of less than a mile or, well, less than 0, something's wrong. But we did have, there. If you look in the raw data, there are some odd ones where you go, that doesn't feel right. So I thought, no, we'll do it this way. Okay. And then lastly, I've done a group by step. So we've grouped it by pickup ID and drop off location ID. And then we've just averaged the column values that match it. So like a group by, it's like a pivot table almost, isn't it? Give us the average value. And that leads to, here's a nice table that's got it, right? And I think that works. We might experiment with the values if it was something that we want to find out more, we want to see more. But certainly when I'm looking at it, right, your average journeys, they're not huge. So I don't think that we're out like an order of magnitude out or anything like that. It feels like we're in the right place for it. An average distance of 2.97 miles for somewhere the size of New York probably feels like it's about right. We can now start to compare and contrast. So actually, for any particular area, and we'll do that, let's show you that. So if we zoom in here, we can see that, if we're looking at, let's zoom in a bit, because we like John Wick, don't we? He's in Finance District South. It's where the Continental is, right? Average distance of 4.8 miles, because, when you're going to assassinate people, they don't tend to be near the Continental. Right. But you can get the picture. This works very well. We can go along, we can see. So we've got lots of journeys coming from the Upper East Side South, but the journey distance is only an average of 1.66 miles. right, for the drop-offs there. Okay, but if we're looking at pickups from there, is it different? And we can see for the Opera East side, for the pickups from there, 4.76. So yeah, people tend to be, there's clearly something going on with that. I would suggest it's possibly to do with Central Park. People might be going for a walk through the park and then taxi home, or vice versa, or something like that. But it's interesting to see those subtleties and be able to look at those and analyze those. So this data set will now work like this. At the moment, I'm coloring these based on the journeys, but we could color it based on the average distance, couldn't we? What we've got as well, further over here, is the tips for the drop-offs. So people being dropped off. Again, should we go back to the Upper East Side? Upper East Side South, it's 11.5%. Brilliant, you know, pretty much bang on what we would expect. Right? Those are the kind of figures that I want to be able to see, that we can now explore our data, understand what's happening. We've got the brush back in place, so along the top I can pick and say, right, I want to see this area, and it will then filter everything down and show me what's happening there. And we can see again from here that there have been some changes in the data set, but the overall colours haven't changed. The intensity of the colours haven't changed in terms of different areas are affected now. So it does suggest something's going on. And if we zoom right in and go back to the Upper East Side South, sorry, on the tips, wasn't it? Upper East Side South, there we go. So the tips actually go up 12.3%. So something, see, you guys are starting to be like me. Oh, I want to know what's going on. Okay, but we digress, don't we? I said to you, thin reports, the secondary reports, that's the way to go. You need to get into that mindset. The reality is, and the way I expect you and the way I see people always doing this, so that's why I expect it, right, is you're going to build, your first report is going to have lots of stuff in it. So like this one has got lots of stuff in it. What I want though is to separate it so that the two don't exist together. And it's not hard to do, it's actually really simple. Okay, what I've done already though, so you can see I've published this up already. So we've got this data set now existing in the service. So job one is also to pull in a secondary report that existed connected to my original model and see, well, how can I map these in? Because if I'm pushing and saying secondary reports are the key, that's the way to go, that's where the value add is, and then I'm not saying to you, well, this is how you remap the two, hey, I'm not doing my job properly. So let's have a look. So if we go in and I open up the airport report, right, which is, strangely, it's just the airports. Alright, so here we are, yeah, the airport report. At the moment, this is connected up to my original data set, and we can see, alright, this works. We can see we've got the percent, like the taxi journey passenger count, although we've got a full passenger count rather than average passenger count in the other one, right? So this is one of those areas where you'd say, there's a difference, what do we want to do? What's the right thing to do? What I suspect the right thing to do is to start actually putting in a total and a so total passenger count and average passenger count. Potentially, well, we couldn't do it with a fares. Yeah, couldn't we? We could do the total fares, which we've got, and then we could do an average fare as well. So you've got kind of the average passenger count and the average fares, seeing what's happening there. So this is kind of part of the process, isn't it? We look at these and we see, well, what's definitely missing. The other thing that we can see that's missing is, if we click here, we can see there's a calculation. Okay, and it's called pickup tooltip. So pickup TT, drop off TT. So those are going to need to be replicated. Okay, and again, that's not a huge, oh no, what am I going to do? Okay, this is one of those areas where you look and you say, right, what's the right thing to do? What's the best way to make all this work? Okay. So what I've done here, what I wanted to show you was, this is the option, this is where you start to rely on things that you've downloaded or built in the past, okay? And this is why I'm always telling you about Vertipaq. Okay? So let's go in and have a look at the Vertipaq file for the New York dataset. So we've got all our DAX statements now. What we can easily do is start to copy and paste those into our model. So that's Wait, that's pretty simple, isn't it? What's the catch, I hear you say? Honestly, there isn't one. So let's go. Let's expand this down so that we can actually see the full text of these, right? And then we can start to go through and copy and paste these into our other PBIX file. So all I need to do is to copy this, right? And this is pickup title. So if I go over to my yellow taxis, under my DAX, let's create a new measure. Pickup title equals that. Okay, and we can see we get issues in terms of the way this is built, but that's fine. This is how you can see what do I need to change. So IntelliSense is your friend with these. So I'll go through now and I'm going to just update the rest of these, bring these other measures in, correct the spelling on them because I just looked at that as well, right? And we'll make this whole thing then have those measures in, and then we can remap the report over to it, and I'll show you how to do that. So I've published it, I've moved it all over, we've done that. The next thing's going to be reconnecting it, isn't it? So I've got that report and I want to reconnect it. Now, we know it's not going to work, don't we? Because there's going to be bits that are missing. And that's always a problem for you, isn't it? Because when you first do this, it feels so wrong, right? I was looking into it, one bit that's missing is this piece, okay? We'll go through and we'll put this in next week, how to actually put in a calculation group. It's worth doing, it's great to know how to do it, and I'll show you how to do it, okay? But for now, what I wanted to be able to get to was where I've got these 3 pages of a report. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's remap it. So under home, what we're going to do is we're going to go to data source settings, okay? So under transform data, data source settings, just click that and you see it comes up here. So if we now say, let's go to this and create, it's going to remap everything to there, okay? And this is what you'll see, right? Now, I knew this would happen, and this was a point that I wanted you to see, right? On the right hand side here, we can see it's got all the new table structures, right? And here we've got all that, well, you know, Ross, it's not worked, why would you do that, right? What you do not do, ever, is click fix this, right? Because fix this won't fix it, right? Doesn't work, okay? The issue we've got is because these aren't right, okay? So we can see if we look around at the filters, so if we look around, let's come back down here, at the filters of it, or even if we click on the C details, it'll explain what the problem is, right? In this case, it's the filters, right? Sometimes it'll tell you it's a measure that's not working, right? And we can see we've got the values here. It's not right. So what do we need to do? It's quite simple, actually. You expand out what you need, and we know it's journeys that's going to be in here. It's journeys by date, isn't it? So we're going to put that in and close off the one that's not right. Okay, we can then see that pickup zone is the issue. So if we go to the pickup locations, we put them in a different table this time, and let's bring that over to that area. Let's remove that one, and let's put in, using the basic filtering, oh, come on. You can give me a list. There we go. Let's search for this. JFK. Okay, JFK Airport. So we can do that. And we can see straight away that's worked. Okay. Likewise on the other side. So we'll go here, bring journeys in, remove it from there, go to the drop-off locations, put that in as the zone, remove that. Here, you're gonna let me pick JFK Airport. Okay, and you carry on and you go through. So I'm just going to go through and do that now, right? And then we'll see what we reckon. Alright, so we've done one. So, simple thing would be to do copy and paste the others across, and I'm going to do that and republish this up. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to get rid of this YOY column for now. YOY, right? Although what I might do is separate it out into a different report. That's always an option, isn't it? You can kind of diversify your file structure that way. So I'll do that and we'll come back to you. Yeah? I'll not show you it, not speed it up, I'll just do it. Right? And then we'll come back and we'll work out, well, what's happening, what's going on. Yeah? Champion. So here we go now. We've got this now all set up. We've got the 3 airports done, dusted. We've got the tooltips on hover. So when you hover over it, it shows you the nice tooltips. We could then go on and explore it. Okay? So all I need to do now is just hit the publish it, isn't it? So if we can publish, say that, yeah, we want to save the changes. Always got to do that, haven't you? And then we'll pick NYC, isn't it? So we've got the data model NYC at the moment. I'll publish it to here, but what we're going to do is probably split that and have like a report pack for next week. So we'll go through, we'll do everything. What I wanted to show you was the importance of secondary reports, so for this, and the process of how you remap them. So what this now means is that if I come through to my Power BI report content, here, where our lovely Power BI report content is, and if I have a look now in my workspaces, I've got NYC taxis, and I should have in my content airports. So we can click on here and we can see here's our lovely airports for Newark, LaGuardia and JFK, and we can see everything across the board for them, right? That's worked. That didn't take me too long. I've noticed there's an issue. I did notice that earlier. I haven't done it because I'm going to have to, it'll take some time to publish the updates through and everything, but we'll fix getting this comma separated so it actually looks sensible. But it's in, it's working. That didn't take too long. That wasn't a huge trial for us to do. The interesting thing is, and this was what I found in the first place, was the amount of people who go from the airport to the airport is significant. It's like one of the biggest, one of the most popular destinations is I want to go from the airport to the airport. And they say, well, what's that? Is that to do with the terminals, isn't it? They've got different terminal buildings, so people are going around between the terminals. We can also see a lot of people are going from JFK to LaGuardia, for example. So that's still got quite a high volume of traffic going across between those two. So it's important. We've got the basics though laid out, haven't we? That what you do is you validate, so have a quick check, is there anything that's definitely not in the 2 data sets? And that should inform part of your discussion. So what do you reckon then? Replacing, upgrading, managing data sets is part and parcel of being a data analyst using Power BI. Okay? As your data culture grows and you actually start to expand your data usage, what you'll find is that it becomes more and more important that you actually go back and constantly revisit your data models and your data sets and improve and iterate them. And the way you do that is by going back into Vertipaq. And that's why Vertipaq Analyzer is such an important tool. So you need to get used to being able to go in, open up DAX Studio, extract the Vertipaq, and then save that off somewhere, because you're going to need it. Okay? And then when you have to do your work is go back in, revisit that VPAX file, and go, right, these are the bits that are going to be missing that we need to definitely bring through because these are used. Likewise with our average distance, that's changed. The whole way we calculate that has changed. Okay, so now, because we've got that average distance table, what we're doing is we're actually doing a valuation based on that. And it's effectively having to do a lookup. So you're looking up the value of the average within an average X calculation, which is, it's not very efficient. It takes a long time, it is slow, but you save it in terms of your data model. So there's swings and roundabouts, and this might be something that we look at and say, we can't possibly have this. We need to do something more efficient with it. You're getting into the whole piece of aggregation models and their limitations versus their benefits. So is it a problem that this is going to slow down areas that use it, or is it more important that we have that average traveled or average distance calculated that way? Do we want to, or could we fix the average distance traveled, or the trip distance per trip, so that we remove the invalid data? And that might work as well for us. It's coming down, it's understanding the issues. A big part of this has been around the size of that column, and that's, I make no bones about it. The point of this data set is I need it to work with Pro so that I can publish it to the web so that you guys can interact with it. And that it's getting tight at 325 million rows of data. It's kind of right up against what you can do. So putting in that value, for all it might not seem significant, we just need to make sure, or it potentially pushes us over the limit of it. Doing the group by, we can kind of skate under it. So it's a swings roundabout. This is a nice topic because it kind of gets you thinking about your data structures and the way that they interact and the way that they interplay together. So, give it a try. So I hope you've seen a lot today and you've thought, I feel confident now with doing this, and I can kind of get the point of why secondary reports are so important and why we need to really push them going forward. And then next week, what we're going to do is we'll take the report set, we'll build up and publish our main area, and I'll take you through and we'll publish that to you guys, so you guys can go in and go, I want to play with this report, and actually have a look, and there it is, ready, up and running and working for you, so you'll be able to do it. But we will have gone through, remapped everything from 2017 to 2020, yellow taxis in New York, and you'll be able to go in, explore the data yourselves. So for now, have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves. Ta-da.